Xianxia was used to it. Not only did she have her own independent attic, but she also had several young, beautiful and clever maids taking care of her daily life. All she needed to do was to make alchemy for Caillou with peace of mind. Everything was in Xianxia's expectation. Miss Xia, these materials were assigned to you by the Lord. The Lord hopes to see the finished spirit pills in a month. In the attic, a maid in a green dress handed a space ring to Xianxia. Give it to me. Xianxia smiled and took the space ring. The green-robed maid's eyebrows wrinkled slightly. She seemed a little unhappy, but she didn't refuse too much, and gently put the space ring on Xianxia's hand. Xianxia swept through his spiritual mind and chuckled softly. Why is there only such a little material? Are these still few? This is already 40 void-grade pill materials. The servant girl in green frowned. Well, it's a bit less. Can you get more materials? Xianxia asked. It can be, but the other masters in the palace have so many shares in a month, and no matter how much, they will have no time to refine. How can those people compare with my little senior sister? Xianxia curled his lips with a look of disdain. Go get more materials, the more the better. The girl in green immediately looked at Xianxia in embarrassment. To be honest, she didn't like Xianxia very much. The rumor that Xianxia had a little white face and only relied on women to eat, and that he was too affectionate had spread throughout the palace. No woman has a good impression of such a man. He had a woman who had a alchemy master but was still not satisfied, and actually stretched his claws towards Lord Xianxia. Sadly, Lord Qingluo didn't know what was hiding her wise and bright eyes. She couldn't see through the nature of this shameless man, couldn't see his dirty soul hidden under the light. In the palace, almost everyone was sighing for Xianxia, feeling a good flower, but willing to insert it on the cow dung, which made them feel indignant. Now Xianxia's tone is higher than the sky, which makes the green-clothed servant girl who had a bad impression of him even more disgusted. However, Palace Lord seems to intend to use the new alchemy master, so she is not easy to refuse. Just want to solicit the opinion of Xianxia. It's just what junior brother said. Xianxia said softly, if Palace Lord asks, you just say I want it and she won't disagree. Yes. The servant girl in green nodded helplessly. By the way, what's the general probability of the masters in the palace to succeed in alchemy? Xianxia asked again. 20%. The servant girl in green replied indifferently, 10 materials. Successfully refined twice. Understood, thank you for telling me. Xianxia smiled and clasped his fists. The maid-servant in green looked at him earnestly, as if she had something to say, but she hesitated for a while and couldn't say it. She just complained to Xianxia, turned and left. This girl seems to hate me. Xianxia looked at her back. Laughing, he naturally knew why the other party would put on a look of disgusted towards him, but he wouldn't take it to his heart. Junior brother, will it be a little bad for us to do this? Xianxia looked at Xianxia worriedly. What's wrong? After all, it is a void-grade material. The value is not low. If you do this, it is equivalent to cheating the material from Lord Caillou. Xianxia was a little uneasy and guilty. That's not right. Xianxia shook his head. Little senior sister, thinking about it. That girl just said that when the other masters in the palace refine the void-grade pill, the chance of becoming a pill is about 20%. That is to say that 80% of the materials will be wasted by them. But the little senior sister, you are different. If you do your best to refine, not to mention the 100% chance of pill formation, there will always be 80 to 90%, and it doesn't matter if you fail. At that time, you only need to convert those materials into 30% of the finished spirit pill for Lord Caillou. She has already made a lot of money, and we are just taking some benefits from it. This is a benefit for everyone. Although what you said is good, I always feel bad. Xianxia pursed her red lips slightly. Even though she felt that she and her junior brother were like thieves, since Xianxia asked her to do this, Xianxia would not refuse. The two quickly plunged into the great cause of alchemy. The process of Xianxia's alchemy is the same as cultivation. For her, alchemy is a kind of enjoyment, not hard. Moreover, she is now a first-order void return stage. After delving into the alchemy true understanding, her attainments in alchemy are no small thing. In addition, the last time she succeeded in refining a spirit pill with Pill Cloud and Shining Moon City, she gained a huge harvest and had a deep understanding. Today, Xianxia also admires her understanding of pill refining. Pieces of materials were transformed into finished spirit pill in her hands, which was extremely efficient. Xianxia was not idle either. He was experimenting with the refining techniques from the alchemy true understanding. If it succeeds, then one material will produce more spirit pill instead of just one. It is conceivable that if he succeeds in the experiment, it will have a great impact on the field of alchemy. This is definitely a groundbreaking development. It's a pity that Xianxia doesn't have any clues yet, so he can only refine the spirit pill while delving into the alchemy true understanding. The two brother and sister work together to squander 40 alchemy materials in a mere few days. A few days later, when the servant girl in green came over again and received a bottle of 12 spirit pills, she almost stared out her eyes in surprise. It's only been a few days. This young and beautiful alchemy master has really finished refining all the materials. Moreover, the number of spirit pill is 10% higher than that of other masters in the palace. She could hardly believe her eyes. If it weren't for those spirit pills that could match the materials delivered earlier, she would almost doubt that Xianxia had used the previously refined pills to replenish her. No wonder the palace lord takes her so seriously. It turns out that she is really capable. Thinking about this, she felt that Xianxia was more obtrusive. This little white face was really thick-skinned. He had nothing to do all day and didn't do anything else, so he just stayed by the girl's side, keeping every step of the way, as if he was afraid that someone would snatch her away. But she didn't blame him for doing this. He didn't have much ability and could only rely on women to eat. Of course, he had to pay more attention to it. For a woman like Master Xia, there are many suitors. Master Xia, this is 100 void-grade pill materials, the palace lord said. If you want more materials, just tell the maid-servant. The palace will unconditionally provide enough. The green maid will respectfully pass more materials. Thank you. Xianxia smiled slightly. Just put it there. Xianxia gestured lightly. The servant girl in green gave him a vicious look, put down the material in her hand, thought for a while, and suddenly shouted, "Thank Master Xia for being nice, you shameless man." After speaking, she left angrily. Xianxia looked inexplicable and frowned. What did she scold me for? I didn't mess with her. Xianxia pursed her lips in chuckles, and said with relief, "Don't mind, others don't know how good you are. I know it's fine." Xianxia feels warm. Xianxia lowered her head and said softly, "In fact, this is pretty good. I'm really afraid that more women will know how good you are. Since little senior sister said so, then I can let you take care of this little white face." Xianxia laughed. Xianxia's face was reddened, and the word little white always reminded her of some bad and messy things. Red Moon Territory is one of the top 3 existences in the top 10 territories of the Monster Emperor Star. The territory is naturally rich and produces a large number of treasures. What's more, here is the Monster Emperor Star. There are countless monster beasts. Therefore, the palace does not lack the medicinal materials and monster beast core needed for alchemy. The treasures can satisfy Xianxia as much as she wants. In order to get as many benefits as possible from here, Xianxia and Xianxia naturally spared no effort to refine the pill. All the materials were refined only 30%, and the refined pill was handed over to the servant girl in green. Then brought new materials from her. The remaining 70% was all privately pocketed by Xianxia. There are not many opportunities to search for alchemy materials. How can Xianxia let it go? He doesn't matter, he is already a Void King grade alchemist. Unless he is allowed to practice his hands with Void King grade materials, he can effectively improve his alchemy skills. Otherwise, no matter how many pills are refined, he will only increase his proficiency a little, and that's it. But Xianxia is different. She needs a huge base of materials to refine her alchemy and improve her cultivation. As the Star Master of Dongxuan Continent, little senior sister desperately wants to raise her realm so as to bring life to her homeland. The materials obtained from the palace will all become stepping stones for Xianxia's growth. Caillou was greatly delighted by Xianxia's outstanding performance. Although there are several void-grade alchemists in the palace, none of them can make alchemy as efficient and high-speed as Xianxia. It can be said that the sum of the void-grade alchemists in the palace is not as practical as a Xianxia. Caillou felt that if Xianxia could serve in the palace for 10 years, it was very likely that she would create hundreds of void return stage cultivator for Red Moon territory. This is not a joke. If there are really 10 years, the pill refined by Xianxia and then given to those talented monster race cultivators to take, it will definitely help them grow effectively. She became more optimistic about Xianxia, and she was almost responsive to her request without any procrastination. This indulgence made it easier for Xianxia to search for materials. He was already considering whether he should get some Void King grade materials from Caillou. There has never been a Void King grade alchemist on Monster Emperor Star. This also means that there must be a lot of Void King grade medicinal materials stored in the palace. Xianxia had already hit this point from Xianxing's side, knowing that Caillou had a warehouse where many precious materials were stored, including the existence of the Void King grade, which made Xianxia very excited. To be continued.